vote. I've heard a lot of voters also talk about, let's walk down a little bit, just a little bit, so we won't get the profanity in there. But just overall, James, just a lot of different people out here for their personal reasons, and their stories are different, but their mission was the same. Walking,
This is
marching
the
together.
wrap-up. I'm sorry. I thought I was recording the live march. This is the end of the march here in Uptown Charlotte. And something was wrong with my recording, but here this is
okay. All right, so
this
Ben,
is being
if you'll
streaming
ask
from
Khadijah, and really you too,
WCNC.
what is your sense from a public
through
safety
WCNC
angle?
Plus
do you feel safe? Were there any kinds of threats
Roku
happening?
or anything like that?
Yeah, so I 100%. No threats, no threats. It was very peaceful, a very peaceful protest, a very peaceful march. There were waters along the way for people who needed it. As you can see, medic is still on standby. They've been here all day as well. CMPD's out here. You have them blocking off the roadways. But also, you can see some bikers as well to ensure that folks are safe. So yeah, 100% peaceful, no threats. Everything was a pretty smooth, I would say, a smooth run today.
All right, guys. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Tradisha, bringing us those images there from Uptown. As Tradisha said, things wrapped up officially for this march, the marching part, and it appears that maybe folks are still just sort of loitering or hanging out there around First Ward Park. You can see there's no real movement. The energy is still high. So as people are being asked to go ahead and clear the streets, some are remaining, but so far so good as far as a safety angle goes. We saw some young folks out there, but it looks like a medic on standby. We saw police there on standby, some of the patrol units. But the passions are still there, but remaining peaceful, and that's good to see, good to hear. As I know, our local law enforcement trying to prepare for big events like this, as we've seen from the West Coast and LA particularly, how things escalated last week, and how their local law enforcement is preparing for this weekend's No Kings protest, one of over 1,800 across the country. So you can see mom and daughter there on the side. And go to our Bria Smith, who is in Statesville monitoring things there. You've been there for a couple of hours now, Bria. How's it looking?
Absolutely. Well, things are actually dying down here a bit, Jane. Everything should be, or was supposed to wrap around 1 o'clock. But we had the chance to speak to many people, had different views. One whose family came to this country to give them a better life. Others who are supporting a healthy public education system. But overall, everyone at the end of the day was really pushing just a peaceful protest and making sure that an event like this could really just push for justice at the end of the day, Jane.
And Bria, would you say, how would you describe the family-friendly aspect of it? Because I know organizers were, and I know you spoke to that 10-year-old boy earlier, but how would you say is the overall, message from families being out there in solidarity?
Absolutely. Well, I did have a chance to speak to a family who brought their younger children here. I mean, as young as 10 and 7 years old, which was pretty, surprising but refreshing to see there. And she said she just really wanted her children to learn at a young age how to exercise their voice and to stand for something that they believe in. So overall, really great to be able to see that kind of camaraderie there. And despite people having different views, standing on opposing sides of the crosswalk there, they were still able to remain peaceful. And at the end of the day, I think they remembered that they were a community, and that really stood out here in Statesville today.
That's nice to see. And from all the interviews that you did, it seemed like people were there for so many different reasons other than the main headline, right? More than just immigration.
Absolutely. There were people here who had concerns of, economics, finances, growing authoritarianism. So really just different views, but ultimately, you saw a lot of signs that said no kings. I think that was kind of the setting the pace there, the foundation for this rally, just making sure that their voices were heard. They also spoke about how they sent letters in to Congress, and so they just really want to be seen and heard, and that was a really big push for them at today's protest.
And you did allude to other folks being there opposing the No Kings, and there was some kind of going back and forth. But from what can you see as far as a public safety angle?
Absolutely. Well, law enforcement is a huge law enforcement presence here. Definitely just making sure that people are remaining peaceful, they're remaining cordial, despite having those different views. Really just up and down every corner, up and down the blocks, they'll walk, they'll talk. So definitely making sure that this is something that, people are able to exercise their right to vote, but also making sure that they're doing it in a peaceful environment. And that shows here also in Statesville.
All right, Bria Smith, thank you for bringing us the sights and sounds from there. Nice to hear that everything went off without a hitch. And thank you for bringing all that coverage and other people's points of views and why they came out there to Iredell County. Thanks. Cheers now to Statesville. Our Bria Smith taking in a live interview with yet another protester and demonstrator. Let's listen in here live on WCNC Plus.
Are supporting, emphasizing that need for. Well, teachers in North Carolina are not paid very well, and there is a shortage of special education teachers, especially in this state. And there are people who will lose resources in the public school system, such as speech therapy, behavioral therapy, and occupational therapy, if these rights are not maintained. The right to a public education for everyone was not enacted in this state until 2009. So we have a lot to protect here, that we do not need the dismantling of the Department of Education.
Absolutely. And if we were just to entertain the idea of what that might look like, the dismantling, right? Talk about how you can, assume or presume that would impact those who heavily depend on the public education system all throughout the country.
Well, there's so many people, special needs services such as speech therapy and occupational therapy, a lot of insurances do not cover those services, and people who can afford them are still paying thousands of dollars out of pocket. So those who are living in the poverty level, definitely their children are going to miss out on early intervention services, which could help their child succeed in the future. These are our future citizens of this state and this country. So I fully support the public right to education for everyone.
And very lastly, I know everyone has a different sign and might be here for a different reason, but all for the betterment. Talk about what you hope people can take away from not only the entirety of this event here today, but also your sign and what you stand for.
Well, I think they are expressing their First Amendment right to free speech on both sides, and that's a great thing. And the police are here to, if we did get a permit to do this, and I was invited to participate. So I hope that as you see a lot of people driving by, hopefully it's going to raise awareness of the problems that are happening in this country and what they can actually do about what they feel is a problem in this country, which is there's supporting their right to freedom of speech. So
It's been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that was our Bria Smith talking to yet another woman participating in the protests and No Kings rally up in Statesville in Iredell County. Talking to some folks gathered up in Statesville. Let's go ahead and listen in here live now on Live Impact News.
Of the live No Kings protests going on in the Charlotte metro area and beyond. Earlier, I forgot to hit the record button,
Hello, my
where
name
they
is
were
Angel
showing
Peña.
South Florida
Angel.
and a little bit of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, also uptown Charlotte, Statesville, the Statesville area, and other places. This was streaming on WCNC Plus on their streaming platform. You can see that on Roku, Hulu, and a couple of, I think, Prime as well. But today was No King's Day. This was created by Indivisible, and another 50 states, 50 plus cities, and one day. And the title again today was No King's Day. Pushing against the parade today for the 250.
I'm very grateful.
250 birthday of the Army. I am not disrespecting them because my father was in the Army for the Vietnam War. So he was in the Army, so I appreciate the Army. Everyone who's in the Army, I'm so sorry that you have this
First of all,
Commander-in-Chief.
That's not a question. That should
Just remember,
question at all. But the separation
your
that we're
oath
dealing with is just,
was not
on a lot of people.
for the president. Your oath is from the Constitution. Just remember that. Just remember that.
What does it mean at a young
All right.
age to be able to
So
understand
this is the end of this video. I may do another video about the Army's birthday and also Flag Day.
Most people are privileged
Here's
and they
my
don't realize
flag.
that.
Happy Flag Day.
They grew up having everything.
But it looks like, at least here on the East Coast and Southeast, that there were no violence, at least today. Everybody was peacefully protesting, which is part of the First Amendment. And so appreciate everyone being very, very peaceful and being very, very safe. All right, I'll see you on the next video.